But when you think about it, you have to ask yourself this question. Is God omniscient? You know what the word omniscient means? It means all-knowing. And he's the God who was, the God who is, and the God who is to come. That means that God has all knowledge of everything past, present, and future. Are you listening? That means it's impossible for God to forget what happened 10,000 years ago, because he's the God who was, and he's the God who is, and he's the God who is to come. So because God is omniscient, he has all knowledge. It means that God will never, in the truest sense of the word, forget what has happened. God forgives, but God doesn't forget. What does this suggest then? Here's what it suggests. It means simply when God says that I will remember their sin no more, here's what it means. That God makes a choice not to sustain the offense against us. God makes a choice not to sustain the offense against us. And that's what the truest sense of his forgetting is. God says, I'm going to act like that never happened. I am making the choice not to sustain the offense against you. I am making a choice not to sustain the offense against you. That's all that statement means. You see, the dangers of forgetting are quite significant. Without a clear memory, we have little ability to be able to break free from the destructive cycles of marriage and families and churches. You know why? Because accountability, say accountability. Accountability depends on memory. Accountability depends on memory. I mean, if you gave your child $20 and then you know that they were only supposed to have $12.75 worth of stuff, am I the only parent who doesn't get that change back? I mean, you know how much money you gave them and you know how much it was supposed to cost. You want them to be accountable to you. When you're accountable, you've got to remember, well, I went to the movies and the movie was $9 and then I got some popcorn and popcorn was $4.50. And you want them to remember. You cannot be accountable if you don't have any memory. Are you listening? You can't be accountable without memory. So if you give somebody something, you're going to have to give an account before God. You're going to have to remember. You're going to have to remember some things. And so forgiving is different from forgetting. There are certain things that God doesn't want you to forget because you've got to be accountable. And he doesn't want you to forget the lesson that should have been learned from the mistake or the failures of your past. Don't you forget that. Forgive yourself over that. Don't keep whipping yourself over what you did. I mean, I know you got pregnant out of wedlock. I know that you were over here and you with this person and that person, and now you regret that ever happened to you and you're ashamed of your past. But forgive yourself over that, but don't forget it. Because if you forget what you did and why you did it and how you did it and what drove you into that, you'll wind up back there again. So don't forget it. Touch your neighbor, say, don't forget that. But please let me help you to understand this. Confession of sin cannot be casual. Confession of sin cannot be casual, and repentance cannot be flippant. Repentance cannot be flippant. How does that strike you when you have to tell somebody, I mean, you could at least say that you're sorry for what you did to me. And then the person just sort of casually or flippantly say, okay, I'm sorry then. Oh, I'm overwhelmed with your genuineness. You know exactly in your own life. See, that's what keeps us humble. It keeps us from becoming high-minded with other people. You know in your own life what you need to work on. But I want you to realize something for God's own chosen people, Israel, that he had to say to them.